Hey everyone, it's Emily from Life So Savory, and today I'm going to show you how to adjust a shirt that I don't like. So I bought actually 2 of these shirts online. They were very cheap. I like the fabric, which is why I'm not sending them back. They're actually super soft and the rest of it fits pretty good, but these weird wing sleeve cap things are just too much for me. I can't handle it. So, excuse me. So I'm going to use one of my free patterns to change the shape of the shoulders, hopefully make it a little more narrow, and create a super fun tank top with this fun soft fabric. Okay, so that's what I'm hoping to do today. I do want to show you real quick. I just thought I would share with you some pictures of what I'm hoping this will look more like when it's finished. And I've already prepped a little bit the tank that we're going to remake. So this is the same tank, had the same weird sleeves caps things on it. I took them off so you don't have to watch me use the seam ripper. But oh my goodness, what I also did this morning as I was taking off the sleeves is I accidentally took off the neck. So I hadn't done either of the sleeves. I thought I had a sleeve. I ripped the whole thing off. I got it done and I was like, wait a second, that's the neckband. So I had to sew it back on. So you can see the white serger thread. That's my thread because I sewed this back on. Okay. So my women's boxy tank, which let me show you what that looks like, is so cute. And I actually still have these tanks that I'm going to show you right now. Sometimes I don't still have, you know, if I made it like 5 years ago, I don't still own it. Okay. But hopefully you can see right here, this maroon version and this pink version. And I've done this in the past where it's really fun to sew up. Let's see if I can I? Yeah, okay. So we can look at this together. Okay. So on these tank tops, the maroon one, I actually cut down a men's shirt, which I think was really a good project. And then this one, the pink one, I sewed from scratch with fabric using the pattern. Okay. So you can see here how I'm pointing out, I love that the armholes are bra friendly. You don't have to wear a tank top or anything underneath of it. And I think this one is a little bit deeper, but is going to be the same. I'll show you in a minute. This has a video tutorial quickly walking you through it, shows you front and back. Again, this one is a t-shirt of my husband's. So I took in the sides, cut off the sleeves, added this pink band. I really wish it was the same color as the maroon fabric. And I also shortened it because it was an adult shirt. And then this one is sewn just from the pattern. So if you're looking at what the pattern would look like exactly, there it is. Okay, so I think that gives you an idea of what we're going to create. Only this time, instead of taking it from a men's shirt, I'm just going to take it from this really wonky women's shirt. But again, if you're just joining, I am keeping this and not returning it. I bought 2 of these online. They were cheap because they are super soft. I like the neckline. And I think it can turn into a really cute boxy tank. So on this maroon one that I'm going to do for you today, I am going to keep the shape of these arm cuffs. So you can see how it's wider at the top than at the bottom. And I'm hoping that if I cut it in quite a bit farther and isn't hanging off like this, that it won't look so weird, but it also might be cute to have the shape of this cuff rather than just the straight cuff as we just looked at on the previous versions. Okay. So again, I've ripped off the sleeves. Now let's go ahead and use the pattern. So this would be the method I would use if I was taking a men's shirt and adjusting it like I am right now. Oh, I also was going to show you, I feel like this is a little bit bigger armhole than the shirt pattern calls for, but will still work. Okay. So I would use the same method if I were taking a men's shirt and using this pattern. Maybe I need to put it down a little bit to create the boxy tank. Okay, so I would lay out my arm. It looks like they're cut exactly the same. Then I'm going to take the boxy tank pattern, which is cut here, but I'm not going to use all of it because I actually like the width. I like everything else about this shirt. I'm going to lay the shoulder at the top, and what I'm going to use is I'm going to use it to cut along the top of the shirt. Now, when I had the men's shirt and it was wider, I pretty much could just cut this whole thing. But because this is a little bit lower, I am going to actually leave that lower armhole, and we're just going to cut the top and then ease those two together. Okay, so I'm going to cut off the top there, and then we're going to just ease the arm curve coming from the bottom. Okay, if you are taking in the shirt, then you can also cut down the sides to take it in as well. So pretty much what I've done is I've just narrowed the shoulders on this, and I'm hoping that then the arm cap lays smoothly. If I hate it and it still sticks out like wings on here, then my next plan is to cut them off again and just make the what was I going to say? Just make these bindings like normal bands and not this different shape. Okay, so I'm leaving them this wider shape. Even though I don't like how wide it is, I feel like if it was more narrow, it would be cute. But like I said, I don't want wings. So we're going to do that. And now I'm noticing, awesome, from this, again, these are super cheap. The arm openings weren't even the same size on the right and left shoulder. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we're also going to make the arm openings the same size. Okay, so I've cut those, and I think it's going to be more narrow. I want to make sure it's going to be narrow enough. I might take a little bit more off the shoulder because, again, if I was just using a 1-inch band, that would just go along there. But because this is wider at the top and I don't want to have this issue going on, we're going to take off a little bit more along the top, not the bottom, just the top on the shoulders. So that it's not wide sticking out. All right, so now we have the shirt cut, okay? And we're gonna go ahead and pin in. I'm gonna turn this wrong sides out so I can go ahead and pin easily the right sides together. This is pretty simple. We're gonna pin top and bottom. The bottom is the seam that's sewn in here. I know, Mary, it's crazy. Yes, you guys had snow last week. We've had snow on the weekends, but it is nice out today. So I will take it. It feels like spring. It's not quite tank top ready, weather ready, but I'm definitely getting my tanks in order so that when it does warm up like 5-10 more degrees, I'm ready with some tank tops. And the boxy tank, the maroon one that I showed you, and if you didn't see me click over to it, you can go ahead and click the link in the description of this video, is one I wear all the time, and it's an upcycled shirt from one of my husbands. So I'm actually hoping that maybe this can replace it, since like I said, I don't really like the contrasting binding that I put on, but it was what I did. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and pin or clip. So I'm gonna match the top, which is the widest part of that binding. And remember, I'm using the original one that came off the shirt. So it looks like this, where it's wider on the top and narrow underneath. If you're using a t-shirt, then I would cut the sleeve and cut like a 2-inch piece so that you have like a 3/4 inch binding. It'll be a 1-inch folded, 2 inches folded in half is 1 inch, but then by the time you do a seam allowance, it'll be like a 3/4 inch binding on there. If I don't care for this wider at the top, narrow at the bottom, like is originally on this shirt that I'm wearing for you, okay? Do not like how it like accentuates and makes my shoulders look weird and wide. I don't know. It looks cute on the model, of course, on the website. Then I will take this binding off again, and I will cut it down to just the 1 inch binding and sew it on, okay? And if I ruin the shirt altogether, I'm out like $5. But it's sometimes hard to even buy cute, soft fabric for $5, which is why I decided not to return the shirts. And I decided just to try and edit them. So I love them. Okay, so I have the bottom. I'm marking the top again. And then I'm lining the top up with the top sleeve, top shoulder seam. And then the bottom where the underarm is, matching that with the side seam. This t-shirt does have a side seam. It's not tubular, which would also make it easier. But like I said, this tank top, if I like this look of the wider, not the wider, but this angled binding like I have, then I might include some directions or just some tips for making a tank like that and add it to this post, because I think this again is one of my favorites. And my favorite way to use it is to take the pattern pieces and lay them on one of my husband's old soft t-shirts and redo one of his t-shirts for me. They just are soft and really nice. So when he gets rid of shirts, I often turn them into these boxy tanks. The neckline stays the same. It's a little bit bigger because it's a men's shirt on me. But you can also go and like thrift a shirt and upcycle it into this boxy tank as well. Okay, we're going to head over to the sewing machine. It's going to be really easy today. We're going to sew these two sides, but I guess it will be a little bit longer if I hate it, because then we'll cut it off and we'll make it narrower, and we'll try it with just like a regular band instead of this angled binding. All right, I'm going to rotate the camera. This is a simple serger project today. Not too difficult. All right. So we're going to use the serger. We're going to sew on those two bands, and then I will try it on and see if I like it. Okay. And then if I did, I'm going to do the exact same thing to this shirt that I am wearing. And I'm wearing it just for demonstration purposes of what the original looked like, so you can compare it to then what I am changing it up to be, which hopefully is a big improvement. And obviously, some people must like this style because they're selling it. I just, on my shoulders and my body, did not care for how wide these things are sticking out. So we're redoing it. And actually, when I bought it, I thought, oh, it looks a lot like my boxy tank. Hopefully it'll be cute. Well, not quite what I was hoping for. So let's redo it. Okay, so there's one sleeve on. Hopefully that looks like we want. Okay, hi Debbie. We're just kind of trying to fix a tank top that I bought online. Like it's this one, same one, and I don't like how the sleeves sort of stick out on my shoulders. So I either want it more narrow, or I feel like it needs to be a little bit more like a cap sleeve. So I've used one of my free patterns to cut this down a little bit, and now we're re-sewing on the same bindings or the same bands. And we're going to see if we've improved the look of the shirt. So that's my hope. But again, I did leave the band as it was, which is wider on the top and narrower on the bottom. It's about 1 inch on the bottom, and then at the top, it's over 2 inches. So if I can get it to work, I think I'm going to really love the look of it. But it just is if I cut the shirt correctly, that I come in far enough. So we will see very soon. So I'm just sewing around, getting this band on. It's about equal to the opening on the shirt. So I just have to stretch the band just the tiniest bit. To get it on there. Okay, let's take a look at what it's. All right, so there it is again. There's the sleeves. I like how it looks. It's very pretty on there with the wider on the top, but did I cut it correctly so that I don't have weird shoulders? I'm going to go ahead and change out these shirts. And then I'll turn the camera so you can see and give you my opinion on if I'm keeping it or not. Or am I going to redo it? Okay, no, also I forgot to mention I did order 2 different sizes in this shirt because I didn't know which one I would be in this online shirt. So this one is 1 size larger. I think these are small and medium. So this one is 1 size larger than the gray version. Okay, so it's a little bit lower. I might have actually wanted to sew it up just a tiny bit, but I don't know. It's close. Can I get away with it? What do you guys think? Still too weird? I just wish it was maybe like a 1/2 inch in farther. I think if I do the same thing on this one, it's going to be perfect, because this one is a little bit smaller to begin with, this shirt. But I am glad that I took it in farther. Do I wish I just had it a 1 inch binding around though? What do you think? If I fold that under, see? Yeah, I think this is better. I think I'm probably going to end up just putting the 1 inch binding and not leaving the wideness on there. Then I think it'd be perfect. Don't you think? That's so cute then. I don't know. Something about the wingy things isn't my favorite. I don't know. Maybe it's okay. Maybe it's okay. Maybe I'll leave this one like this, and I'll do the gray one with just the regular bindings. I don't know. Yeah. Okay, you guys are with me on that, and I think I will probably end up ripping this out again and just putting on the 1 inch bindings. So I just carefully picked out the serging, and then I went through and, like I said, laid out the t-shirt to adjust the shoulder or the arm, and then you're going to sew those bindings back on. So you can do the same thing with a t-shirt with actual sleeves. Just cut off the sleeves. You probably don't. I'm trying to save every bit of fabric because the bottom of this is literally my 1 inch that I want to save. So I carefully picked it out. But if you have a whole sleeve, I would just probably use the scissors, cut it off, and then you can cut your 2 inch band from the sleeve opening and then sew it back on once you've cut the shoulder opening different. So I think we're all in agreement that this doesn't look as good as it would if it was. I don't know. Honestly, this shirt is a little bit bigger too, so I think but I think I can save it by cutting down the bindings and putting that on there. So anyway, I think where the bindings on, half it on your arm. The wider width just needs to be much narrower, quicker. Maybe. Here, let me get closer so you can see a shoulder. Let's see. Yeah. I don't know. It's just weird. It's a little weird. I mean, ultimately, it's not bad, and I'm not sure if it's just because if I took it in down here, would it be better? I think it just sticks up a little too much. So I will end up ripping it off and trying again, but yeah, so it's weird on there. And part of that is I probably need to take it in a little bit because it's a little too big. The gray one is a little bit more fitted. That's the size smaller, so that I won't have some of these same issues. But anyway, I hope that even though this project wasn't a huge success, that it will inspire you to think about things that maybe you can make differently. So, okay, let's go ahead and take off I'm going to take off one of, it does look like shoulder pads. Oh my goodness. I'm going to take off one of the arm bindings. Got to make sure I don't rip off the neck. And then I'm going to sew it on so you can see the contrast. I'll leave one shoulder as is on this gray one, and then I'll make one the new shoulder. We'll see if you guys like it, and then I'll be able to replicate it on the other side. Okay? Sound like a deal. Then you won't have to watch me rip out two seams, but I like to start at the bottom. I clip some of the serger threads with my little scissors here till I can get an opening from the opposite side. And then I pull from this side and start to just clip with my scissors. I do have seam rippers, but I just prefer, especially for this sort of project, it's quite easy with the scissors. So anyway, this took me a couple minutes. Anyone have any good questions or things we should talk about while I'm doing this? Anyone sewing anything fun right now? I am kind of in full-on summer sewing mode. I've been remaking some summer sewing projects. I made myself a dress this week that's so cute that I will be posting photos for, I think, on Friday. I've been making some summer things for Rose. She needs some new shorts, so I'm going to be making the girls' knit short pattern that I created several years ago. That one is just so easy for playwear and sews up in like 7 minutes. So I'm going to be making her a couple more of those. They're really fun out of like French terry, and I think I have some to use up. So that's what I'm working on. I don't know if you guys are working on anything fun right now. Do you want to see this up close, or is it not that exciting to watch me seam rip? I could get the camera closer, but it's probably not that exciting. I'm literally just clipping a couple needle threads and then pulling, and then the serger threads are coming out. And this is a good way. It'll be easier to rip this one out again because I sewed it with white serger thread. So it'll be more contrasted. This is like matching serger thread. Oh, fun, Mary. That's a great idea, making raglan sleeve shirts. They're so easy to sew and perfect for, what charity are you donating them to? I would love to know, because sometimes I'm looking for places to sew for as well. Is it local or someplace online? It would be fun to do. Yay, that's awesome, Lynn. A quilt. Is it going to be like a baby quilt or like a full bed size quilt? Since you're raffling it off, it's not like for the baby. That is very exciting. So sounds like, yeah, you guys have some good stuff going on. My parents are coming to visit tomorrow night, so that is always fun. I won't do a live show next week because they will be here, and we will be at my middle son's track meet, his final of the year. So spring sports are winding down, which is fun. A large lap. That's awesome. You'll have to share a picture when you finish. Okay, we're getting around there. See, I'm ripping it off. And I'm getting tedious. If you didn't need to save every bit of width, like on the shirt, I don't really need to save it. It's the binding that I'm trying to save every inch, especially on the underarm. I would literally just take a scissors and cut the fabric. I would not be doing this. Okay, this is when you are desperate and need that 1/4 inch of seam allowance and can't even afford to lose that little bit when just cutting it off. But a lot of times I do just cut the seam. I remember several years ago, I was sewing shorts during a live show, and for some reason I ended up with like 2 left legs. And I don't remember why they were different. Maybe it was a swimsuit pattern. Anyway, so I had to like cut it off because I had to recut the right leg, the literal right leg. And I just took scissors and cut it. And people were like, oh, you just cut your project. But I literally did not want to be sitting doing this while on a live show, which usually I do everything I can not to seam rip. But I think because this one didn't turn out great, the one I'm wearing that is still weird and needs work, I'm hoping that this one will be easier because it's a little bit smaller and I can end with some success. I hate to end on sort of a failed note, although it gives you a little peek into some of my methods where not everything works out. The tutorials that I give to you online and my videos, not live shows, of course, everything always works out in the end because I make sure it does, or I wouldn't share a tutorial about it. So this is a behind the scenes. Didn't exactly work out. I don't love it. Okay. Mary said there's a local church gives out. Oh, that's awesome. So a good local group. Yeah, I actually have 2 bags of clothes sitting in my living room that I was going to take to the thrift store this afternoon. And I was thinking, I wonder if there's a better place I should be donating this that someone can get it for free. Like, you know, the thrift store, they actually charge the one by us. It's not super cheap to get stuff. Like a t-shirt can still be $6 or $7. And honestly, these shirts were new online and they were cheaper than $6 or $7. So I don't know. Sometimes I'm not sure where I should be taking my donations. All right, so here is the sleeve opening. We're going to lay that down on the cutting board, and I'm going to lay my pattern on top of it, okay, right here, to make the opening smaller so we can put the binding back on. All right, so we've cut it off and now we're going to cut the binding. So I'm going to cut it, I'm going to actually make it so you can see the shape, and it does actually sort of wide, and then it gets narrow really fast just at the bottom. I'm going to cut it a little bit on an angle because that bottom one isn't even quite an inch. It's like 3/4. So I'm going to start an inch at the top and just cut it straight across. So there still will be a little bit of a curve at my underarm. I need to change the blade on this rotary cutter. Okay, so here's now my narrow 1-inch binding, and we're going to go ahead and pin that. So we'll take the top, middle, put it on the top shoulder. Actually, I'm loving this gray tank because it matches my nail polish right now. When I went upstairs and put it on, I was like, ooh, it's matching. And then we're going to take the bottom and put it on the underarm seam. And then go ahead and pin those all up. Clip them. You know I don't really pin. Okay, so this one I'm going to take in a little bit on the underarm, and I'm going to put in more narrow bindings, I think. So, but let's see how we like this. And then this will give me a template more for working off of. Okay, and I'll put this one on and you'll get to see the original shoulder and the new shoulder because I've got one of each going on this tank. What I should save is what I cut off the shoulder to make sure I do the same for the other side. Okay, let's turn this again. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and sew on. I'm making sure when I'm sewing that I'm sewing through 3 layers of fabric. The band has 2 layers as it's folded, and then the shirt is the 3rd layer. So for everything you're sewing, you want to make sure you're catching all 3 of those layers. All right, let's turn this right side out. See what we think. Definitely a different look. Okay, now between the 2 shoulders, this one still has the wider cap on it, and this one is definitely just a normal looking band. So again, I'm going to do a quick change and we'll see. Hopefully this is a much more successful conversion here. Ooh, it feels good. I haven't seen it in the, I think I might need to take a little bit under the arm. It seems a little bit wide where it's like gaping, but you guys can help me. Okay, so much better, right? Oh my goodness. But see how it's just like a little bit sticking out here? I think it just, I'm probably gonna pinch like a 1/2 inch under here if I clip it. Can I clip it? That's better. I don't really like the clip under my arm, but that lays way better. So I'm going to maybe take a little bit under this one, under the arms, and this one I'll just take a little bit off under the arms before I even sew the band on. This one I'll just leave the band on, pinch it, take like a 1/2 inch out of it, and then finish it just so it lays nicer. But this is like exactly where I want it to be on my shoulder. Okay, perfect. So definitely love the way it looks. I don't know. I just feel like this makes my arm look so weird. I can't get over it. So definitely going to be fixing it to match this side. And I feel like we can finish this on a successful note now because I figured out how I want it to look. It works with the pattern. We just need the narrower band. So there you go. I'm going to fix this shirt. It's going to be awesome. Maybe you'll see me wearing it sometime this summer on a live show. I'll have to come back and bring it back and show you how the final shirt turned out. But I hope you're having a great Wednesday, and I hope that the rest of your Wednesday goes well, and that I will look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks. Next week, I'll be at a track meet and visiting with my parents. But then after that, I will be back and we'll sew something fun. So I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Sew something soon. Bye.